What's up and welcome to my guitar channel. Today I was planning on doing an update now that I've had the quad Cortex for 6 weeks or 2 months or something like that. Give you an idea of what it's like, after I've got over the initial thing and kind of know my way around. To sum that video up in a couple of sentences, I love it. It's got my seal of approval, and that for this video means two things. One, I don't need to make that video anymore, and two, you don't need to watch it or decide that you're not going to watch it or do whatever you do when you're on YouTube. However, I was planning to make that video and I didn't know if the content was going to be good. Last night I received an email from Neural saying that there is a new OS update, and part of that new OS update is a multi-voicer, or at least in this it's called a mini voicer. Ooh, nice and fancy. This means that Neural's very public promise that they're going to have all of their plugins be able to be implemented into the quad Cortex is on the path. Between you and me, I don't believe that Neural DSP are going to be able to release a quad Cortex that is 100% compatible with the plugins that they've supplied. Maybe in quad Cortex version 2 or something, but it just seems too ambitious. What Neural have provided with this mini voicer is about a third as powerful and capable of the Tim Henson plugin, and I believe that the quality sounds better. Now, to be perfectly honest, I've only played around with the trial version of the Tim Henson plugin, but I remember it being able to do a lot of different things really well. This can do a few different things really well, but as we'll see in a moment, it kind of breaks the quad Cortex. That then begs the question, how do you increase quality and capability while maintaining or reducing CPU load? That is a question that I have genuinely no answer to, because I do not know. But it just doesn't seem like it's realistic. It's taken them a couple of years of promises to still release nothing and no updates on it. This is the closest thing that they've released on the quad Cortex that kind of starts to allow everything to line up more specifically, but I just don't know if it's possible. I really genuinely don't know. And I will happily take the criticism if I'm wrong, because of course I want those things in a product that I own. Anyway, being the curious human that I am, I decided to fiddle with this mini voicer and see what it could do. This is the result. Sounds fucking broken to me. What you can't hear is that when I'm playing this acoustically, I can still hear the acoustic side of the instrument. So I'm going to add in a kind of dry signal as well, so that you can get a better idea of what it actually sounds like for me. That sounds a lot better. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do in this video, is look at how we can make some sounds that are kind of messed up and really, really weird, and I will show you how simple it is to get a sound like this just literally by playing around and seeing what happens. So essentially what I've done with this is I've got 5 multi-voices in a row. The first one goes up 2 octaves, the second one goes down 2 octaves, the third one goes up 2 octaves, the fourth one goes down 2 octaves, and the fifth one goes up 1 octave. So at the end of the day, we've got a signal that's normal, it then gets changed significantly, and then changed significantly, changed significantly, changed significantly, and then brought back to the same pitch, but once again with more changes. Essentially, it's just every step of the journey, it gets degraded in some way. So this first step is what it sounds like. Right, so the complication that it's having, it can actually do the individual notes kind of fine. That's fine, but when we've got multiple notes playing at the same time, it starts to get really confused. I really like that. I think it's kind of quirky thing with digital, and it just doesn't know what to do, so it just kind of tries and it fucks up everything, and it's great. You got to imagine that this is the input signal for the next plugin in the chain, so it's getting this as audio. It should be getting this as audio, and then as it goes into the next one, it's pitching that down 24 semitones. So this is what that sounds like. Right, we're starting to really glitch out here. Let's do that again. Up another 2 octaves. Down another 2 octaves. Oh, let's turn that on. Really starting to get broken. And then bring it up another octave so that it's the same level as it should have been, kind of. Right, sounding absolutely horrible. I love it. But that's cool, because what I did, as I said, if I add in the initial signal, which I do by putting a splitter in before and after, so essentially there's a signal going straight through here, and there's a clean one that bypasses all that crap, and it is being turned down by like 18 decibels, so it doesn't dominate. This stuff is coming out a lot more quiet than the initial signal. So And the reason why I want that there is because this line, it is way, way, way too busy. There's too much crap going on and the signal is too destroyed. So we need to understand what the kind of musical intention behind this weird noises are. When we add in the actual signal at a normal level, so it sounds like the two are blended together, then we end up with something that is musical and sounds cool and is just a weird effect. What I really love about this is the process is entirely random. Each time I hit a note, the quad cortex goes through and it processes every single note as if it's a new note, as if it's never heard it before. So each time we hear a glitch, it's going to glitch out in some weird, unique way. I think that's awesome. It just adds this element of naturalness that you can't find in digital stuff unless it's programmed to have that randomness. So I think that's really, really cool. Looking at this from a practical perspective, it is not practical. This is like a production tool. This is something that you could do live with the quad cortex, of course, because I'm doing it for you live, but it is not really a practical sound. It is not a sound that can be made in any analog fashion. Because this is so digital and we've had to blend in the clean guitar with it so that it actually makes any form of sense, I'm going to change this around a bit so you get a usable sound from the quad cortex that is a little less insane. Of course, I have already pre-prepared this, so it's not like I'm just exploring this for myself, but the process that I did to get this was just trying stuff out and is it too extreme, is it not extreme enough, and then finding the middle ground until I found something that I liked. So first thing is getting rid of this splitter. Bam, get rid of you, buddy, out of there. Now, these multi-voices, I've told you 1,000 times that they're too busy, so we're going to bring them down to 50%, every single one of them. Right, so now essentially what's happening is the sound is coming into here as a clean guitar. As it comes out, we're getting an octave up and the clean signal. Then it goes through here, we're getting that as a new signal, the octave up and the clean signal, then pitched down by 2 octaves, but the clean signal remains. So we're getting 50% of the old signal is remaining the same, and 50% of it is getting put 2 octaves down. Then, so that's then our new signal, blah, 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 blah. It keeps going on like this. I do not understand the maths, but it just kind of gets more and more complicated. This does have a very different sound, and it is a lot louder. So let's see how we go. Right, I've had to play really softly there because the dynamic range is massive. That, I don't know, might not translate well, but it is hugely different. Anyway, so first thing I'm going to do is shove on a compressor. So now we're at a sound that is funky, by all means, like funky in a weird way, not funky in like a funky way. Sounds interesting, sounds cool. We chuck on some delay. And some reverb. So other really cool things that I like about this quad cortex is there is a gate now inbuilt into the input wherever it's gone. So we can have things cranking down from there and it's kind of fine. It's really, really cool. I love that. It saves us a slot on the thing. Great. Another thing is these buttons are a lot more easy to kind of navigate, and I really like that. So this is a really good update that they've brought ahead, as well as a bunch of different other features. Clearly, the multi-voicer is my favorite because I find that there's so many more creative things that I can do with the unit now. And so that kind of concludes the idea. I essentially tried to, and I succeeded in breaking the quad cortex very quickly. Now, this does bring up another issue that I've got with the quad cortex. The only reason why I have only 5 multi-voices in a row there is because that is the maximum amount that I can use. If I had my way, I would be using a lot more. I'd be using 10 or whatever, you know, probably just 32 or whatever is the max amount. But this is the biggest gripe that I have with the quad cortex is you try and put a couple of complicated things in a patch and then all of a sudden you do not have enough memory to keep going. So if I want to have a complicated patch where I've got my guitar and another guitar and a bass running through the quad cortex, which it is perfectly capable of doing, and that's one of the reasons why I bought the unit altogether, If I wanted to do that and things started getting a little bit complicated, maybe a couple of delays, a couple of amps, stuff like this, then the unit just cannot process it anymore. It will not let you do anything with that. In a way, I like that because it won't let you overload the CPU, so it doesn't matter what situation you're in, even if it's working as absolutely hard as it can, it will never not, which is great. But it's 2022, this was designed last year. I feel like this could have done with a hell of a lot more processing power so that it could handle literally anything that you throw at it. That's it from me this week. I hope you learned something. I hope you experiment and find new funky ways to make weird and interesting sounds, because like, why not? You know, if you've got a quad Cortex, then you know that you can do these things. And yeah, other than that, I will see you next week with more stuff about music. Catch you then. Bye bye.